I don't know how many of you have done this, but here's an experiment. Go into a group of people that you know, not people that you go to the conference with, but just other people, and bring up the subject of UFOs in conversation. And I would be willing to bet it will go like this. There will be jokes about little green men and people with tinfoil hats. And as soon as you get past that, I guarantee one or more people in the group will want to tell you about either a sighting that they've had, or someone they know and trust has had a sighting, or they have a relative who used to work in the army or the military who saw something. There's way too much smoke for there not to be a whole lot of fire. In Washington State, in Peter Davenport's database for Newfork, we have 5,478 reports since 1974. In MUFON, we have 1,718, of which I can personally account for over 700 that I've investigated. It's probably close to 800 now. Now, are they all true UFOs? No, they're not. And I'll explain how that breaks down. That's a breakdown of my 700 reports. And we are not going to get lost in statistics here. I don't want to be accused of using statistics the way the drunk uses the lamppost, for support, not for illumination. But in any event, I will tell you that my statistics seem to match up with everybody else's. And here is a good benchmark rule of thumb. Out of every 10 reports that we receive, 3 of them have insufficient information to evaluate. That's because for one reason or another, the case is deficient, and when we make an inquiry and want to do some follow-up, either the person can't be contacted or they won't be contacted because they don't want to be contacted. 3 will turn out to be identified flying objects, either man-made or natural. The number 1 culprit is the International Space Station. I cannot tell you how many times I have an argument with people who are convinced that they've seen the vanguard of the alien armada when actually it's the International Space Station. Look it up on the NASA website. Pick a clear night. You can set your watch by when it arrives and by when it leaves. It's spectacular. And you can see why people report it as a UFO. And it will get about 2/3 of the way across the sky, and then it disappears. And that's because it falls in the shadow of the earth and you can't see anymore. But it's still spectacular, and what an achievement. 2 are information-only cases. Once in a great while, we get a hoax. A case can be really, really spectacular, but be too old to really follow up on. That doesn't mean it's not valuable. It just means that what are we going to do with it? Now, I'm actually going to tell you about one or more that I'm totally impressed by, but I can't ultimately prove that it happened or that it didn't happen. Here's the gold. True UFOs. A true UFO is a case that involves high witness credibility combined with high strangeness. Now, when I say high witness credibility, I interview people the same way that I did when I was a policeman. With the same, there's part of me that is directly, I hate to admit this, but it's true, you can't do it any other way. Part of me is directly involved in the interview, and there's that other part of me who is called the rational man. He's this fictitious person that they teach investigators to always talk to. So if you're really an investigator, you're kind of schizophrenic because you're having a conversation with yourself. There is this other person with you, the voice in your head, and you are always asking this question: what would a rational person conclude if they were confronted with the evidence that I am facing right now? Not what I want to have happen or what I speculate may have happened, but let's say realistically, how much have I really accomplished here? Now, obviously, in the criminal world, I'm thinking about what questions is the prosecutor going to ask me when I bring this forward? Or if we think it's really going forward, what questions is the defense attorney going to ask me?